This isn't life-changing, this isn't world-changing, but when I first saw this, it made me just go, oh, and have a little sense of wonder that I'd love to have had when I was about 5. Walsschattenspiel is a German board game, and the title literally translates to Shadows in the Forest, or it's the nicest translation. And rather than sort of going into a great big spiel, because I don't own this, I've only seen pictures, but I do have the rules, and I think the rules are marvellous. And I'm just going to read the rules and then explain why I think this is wonderful. This is the box. The game is a board game that's played in semi or full darkness. An open flame travels across the board, changing the shadows. The dwarves hide in shadows, being chased by the light. It's a game for an adult and several children. And the children work together against the adult, and the adult is the light. The adult lights the candle and places it in a circle at the edge of the board. The shadows of the trees should be plainly visible. The other players each choose a dwarf and hide them behind the trees in the shadows, one to a tree. The adult should close his eyes so he does not know the hiding places. Object. The dwarves must try to meet in the shadow of a single tree. The adult tries to bewitch all of the dwarves with his light. The adult starts first and moves his light along the path, these circles, as many spaces as a number rolled on a die. He may not change direction, even between turns. At a fork in the path, he may change direction. Once the light has moved, all of the dwarves who wish to move may do so. Dwarves may only move in the shadows, and a single sliver of light may not be crossed by a dwarf. While the dwarves are moving and hiding, the adult playing the light must close his eyes. Dwarves caught in the light are bewitched and may not move again till rescued. Once all the dwarves have found new hiding places, the light moves again. After that, the dwarves may move as before. A dwarf caught by the light may not move again even when the shadows cover him. To break the spell, another dwarf must move to the bewitched dwarf while he is in shadow. Last rule. The adult playing the light is not allowed to move from or rise from his position to see where the dwarves are hiding. He may use the rack, this sort of pusher-like thing, to move the candle if need be. The game ends when all dwarves are gathered happily in the shadow of a single tree, or when the light has bewitched all the dwarves. There's something very wonderful about candlelight, and we see it less and less. The only times I've ever been in a house lit by candles were when there was a power cut. And yet the game demands practical darkness, and you can see there's a dwarf hidden here, and that one's bewitched by the light. I really love that it's a flickering light. I really love that the board is what you can see, and if the light falls differently, the shadows are visible. The board shifts, the light shifts, it's always changing. There's something a little magical about it. It captures the magic of the forest it's describing. But I also really like that it's a really good asymmetric game in that the adult has very different powers from the dwarves. The adult has a kind of constrained omnipotence, and it's both competitive, the children work together against the adult, but it's also collaborative because they work together. And actually, the thing this captures is both a little bit of a spirit of fairy tales and a little bit of wanting to get one up on mum or dad. And it does it in this lovely constrained way wherein, of course, the naked flame is controlled by the adult, and it's when you're 6, it's a little bit fearsome, it's a little bit other, and of course you want to work together. And then it does this just by taking away the light in the room and replacing it with a candle light and shadows that really get cast. There's no magic, this is just light, this is just optics. And I don't know, I saw these photos and I very much wanted to be 6 and playing that against my dad rather than being the responsible adult who has to light the flame. And I thought that was charming and it made me smile, so I thought I'd share that.